bloody mess. New Pro Wrestling Gorilla World Tag Team Champions. Unbelievable.
Welcome to Last Match Standing, the podcast where we review, relive, and rank the 100 greatest wrestling matches of all time. As always, I'm Spencer.
I'm Joey Ryan's penis.
And I'm eating gummy bears.
And today, on episode 26, we have for you a listener suggestion from @WrestlingMullet on Twitter. Thank you very much for this, sir.
Awesome name.
From July 26th, 2014, from the American Legion Post 308. In Reseda, California.
Beautiful Reseda, California.
That's right. From Pro Wrestling Guerrilla 11, the Young Bucks versus the world's cutest tag team in a guerrilla warfare match for the PWG World Tag Team Championships.
This is going to be so awesome.
I think it's important to say this was not a match we were ever expecting to cover on this show.
Oh, no.
So PWG has some absolute wars, and there's plenty of arguments to be made for more matches from the LA Indie Giant to be represented on this list. And that being said, there are a few reasons why this one is making the cut. This was, first and foremost, is because it's a listener suggestion. So thank you so much @WrestlingMullet. Secondly, this was an opportunity for us to add something extremely unique, and this match is absolutely bonkers. It is like nothing else on the list by far. So I'm definitely excited to get into it. Also, it's a way to showcase maybe a lesser-known promotion to some folks that may not have heard of it. So I hope that one of the things that we hope to do through the podcast moving forward is to be able to expose people to matches that they may not have seen or promotions that they may not have had the ability to see before. But this match is on YouTube for you to enjoy. So we'll make sure once this episode does drop in a couple of weeks, we'll include the YouTube link in the show notes for everyone to to be able to watch along with us. And please, if you haven't seen it, you're going to want to watch this
Yes.
one. I think this is the only match that I watched 4 times in 3 days because I just could not stop showing it to everybody that I know.
Oh, I did the same thing.
But most importantly, we're doing this match because my wife, Hope, straight up told me that she would leave me if we didn't. So here it is on the list.
Okay, so to your point, I think it's important to note that PWG is an incredible promotion. I mean, they really are very, very good, and they are known across the country for being a promotion that sort of builds stars. Right. I mean, just let's look at this match card just for a second from PWG 11 from July 2014. You've got names like Tommaso Ciampa, Cedric Alexander, ACH, Johnny Gargano, Kevin Steen. This is actually Kevin Steen's last show for
it's his
PWG.
farewell.
He gives a speech right after this match. If you like the link that we watched, like has his like farewell address right afterwards. And I'm like, oh man, because 2 months later he's having his first match in NXT.
You got Brian Kendrick, Roderick Strong, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Chris Hero, and this tag team match is the main event for the night. So it is not, when I'm giving you names like that, it should be no surprise.
What I'm hearing is the entire current roster of NXT is on this card.
Basically. So it should be no surprise that PWG will generate what can be some of the greatest wrestling matches ever. And so the good news about this match is that it is accessible. Right, it is on YouTube, like we've said before, so we definitely want you to go out there and watch it. We definitely when we started this show, we talked about how we wanted to sort of broaden people's horizons, like Landon said, but accessibility is a big part of that. And so because this is accessible, we definitely thought it was reasonable enough to go on the list. And if you watch this match, or if you've seen it before, if you're going to go see it after this, I think you'll agree with us that it belongs on the list. So with that in mind, it's about 20 minutes. On commentary is Excalibur and Kevin Steen, who of course is Kevin Owens.
And actually, does Adam Cole join Kevin
He
Steen
does.
on commentary? I think he does.
He does. He's briefly there, but he's totally on. There's a point where he's like, all right, good seeing you, Cole. And they're like, wait, what?
Yeah, he's in and out. And the
Cole?
referee is Rick Knox. This one, by the way, was a little tougher for me to find. The referee, generally speaking, is pretty easy to get. But Rick Knox, you are a hard man to find.
He is currently a referee for AEW.
Yeah, which is why it was a little easier, I guess. But we found you, Rick, so thanks so much. And
we're always watching. We will find you, zebras.
This is a guerrilla warfare match, right? So guerrilla warfare, just for those of you who obviously may not be super familiar with the PWG, a guerrilla warfare match is basically no rules, right? No DQ, no count out, false count anywhere, or whatever is generally how it works. And this for the tag team titles, entering the match, the Young Bucks are the tag team champions, but they're facing the up-and-coming tag team of the world's cutest tag team, who is, of course, Joey Ryan and Candice LeRae.
So won't spend a ton of time on the Young Bucks. I mean, they're one of the most successful tag teams in the world, making a name for themselves by working as much as possible in as many companies as possible.
Yeah.
And they really just kind of showed the world, the wrestling world, how you can make money as an independent star. And I think that's very important. And I'm extremely proud that we were able to find a match and that we have a listener suggestion of the Young Bucks, because I think, love them or hate them, and there are those critics.
Right.
They're a very, very important tag team and really kind of an inspiration to a lot of folks.
Yeah, I think it's super, super safe and super easy to say that they are, what I think would be considered one of, if not the most prominent tag team in wrestling for the last decade or so.
I think so. Especially like around this time, like 2014, 2015 to now, they're like considered to be the best tag team in the world.
Oh, they're on fire.
Yeah, they're amazing.
But at a time in 2014 where intergender matches were becoming the trend in indie wrestling, Joey Ryan and Candice LeRae came together to form the world's cutest tag team, having a male and female side by side, taking on promotions that they best other promotions, absolute best tag teams and they work as an equal unit, which
right.
was really interesting, and you can see a lot of it. In a lot of these cases, Candice outperforms Joey.
Oh yeah, well, she's fucking amazing.
It's really incredible, and Candice had kind of made a name for herself as the intergender.
Oh yeah, she would just
match
beat
worker.
the shit out of men.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And dear God, does she do that in this match?
Yeah.
Oh, like she had a match against like Cesaro before he was Cesaro, when he was still Claudio, and his like it's hard to watch because half of it is just him beating the shit out of her. But she just keeps getting up, and it's like, oh, suplex? No, I'm going to suplex you onto your fucking neck and win the match. Oh my God, she beats Claudio. Oh, my God. And it's like this, it's like this really good, heartwarming, feel-good story. But you got to get through 10 minutes of him just beating the shit out of her.
It's incredible. But at PWG's DDT4 event on April 3rd, 2011, so a few years before this, LeRae beat Joey Ryan in an invitational gauntlet match to advance to a number one contenders match for the PWG World Championship against Ryan later that same night, which she lost. But this night sort of planted the seeds for the formation of the world's cutest tag team a couple years down the road. So they did come together because the Mount Rushmore of wrestling attacked Candice, and Joey Ryan came out to her rescue saying, "Nobody attacks Candice except me."
Yay!
And so we get the world's cutest tag team, and they debuted for PWG at Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll on May 23rd, 2014, in a winning effort over Best Friends, who you can see over on AEW nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
That's Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor.
No longer Beretta, just Trent.
Yeah, Trent?
Yep, just Trent now. He dropped the last name.
And added a question mark.
Yep.
A month later, in only their second match as a team, they won the Dreamwave tag team titles over in Illinois. But beyond the obvious women's equality message that World's Cutest Tag Team sends, just by existing.
Right.
World's Cutest Tag Team also actively supported equality by partnering with organizations and donating T-shirt sales to Hot Topics legal defense funds, which I find really, really cool.
Yeah.
Perhaps their most notable moment was during Bar Wrestling's Christmas show. In Bar Wrestling, wasn't that like Joey Ryan's league or something like that? He had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
But during this show, World's Cutest Tag Team were given the surprise assist by none other than Macaulay Culkin in a match against Peter Avalon, Ray Rosa, and Swoggle.
Yeah.
Essentially, this made the internet explode.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone knows about that moment that Macaulay Culkin entered a wrestling ring. And that was actually to assist the World's Cutest Tag Team.
How about that?
Yep.
Yeah, tie that in. You might have forgot about that part. That
Yeah,
it was to help the
he's a
World's Cutest Tag
diehard
Team.
wrestling fan.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
crazy. Yeah, it's wonderful. I actually watched all 3 Home Alone movies, or at least the first 3. I guess there might be more now.
There's like 6 of them.
Hope
now.
and I watched the first 3 that were on Disney Plus this Christmas.
Well, 1 and 2 are great. 3 is shit. 4 is
I actually think 3 is okay.
unwatchable.
3 is pretty good.
kinda
I
like
3
like
is
3.
horrible.
I kind of like 3.
4 and 5 and 6 are all unwatchable.
I didn't know those existed.
Yes, they do.
But
You're not gonna
how
see 'em on Disney
appropriate
Plus either.
that Culkin interfered at a Christmas show, considering
Right?
the Home Alone.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It makes a lot of sense.
I guess he didn't want to be home alone that night.
Oh, we appreciate you listening up to this point, and we'll catch you down the road.
Thank you for continuing to listen after that. On January 18th, 2018, Candice wrestled Joey in a happily ever after match to mark Candice's departure from the independent circuit as she signed a contract with NXT.
I think join her husband.
Yeah, it was a sad day in the internet wrestling community
Yeah, it was.
that day.
It was.
But this match at the American Legion Hall in Rosita, California, took place in front of 350 people.
That's a lot
Which
for a
is
PWG
just,
show.
It's incredible to think about because when I see the kind of arena that they're in, it's like, well, these are the kinds of shows that these indie shows in our backyards are pulling together in the same kinds of places.
Yeah, but
you don't see 350 people jam packed right up against the ring.
Well, the thing about PWG is these are die-hard, like just the hardest of hardcore wrestling fans. Because PWG tickets were not cheap.
Sure,
They were expensive because they were booking some of the best wrestlers in the world.
they pay the best. They pay the best for the best talent for sure.
That's what the tickets were like $200 a pop.
Well, and it speaks to just the kind of reputation that they earned because of that reason. So of course you get as many people as you can possibly fit.
Yeah,
into
they
the
jam pack
American
them in that standing room only, 350 people. It's like $200 a pop, but those tickets sell out in 5 minutes
Yeah, exactly.
because everybody wants to go.
So we mentioned Kevin Steen is on commentary for this one, and I think that plays a larger role in this match than you might think. So
Such an asshole on commentary.
he is.
He is.
But the Young Bucks are the better team. Let's just go ahead and say it, right? They're the champions going into this match, and they do all of these complex maneuvers in perfect synchronization.
Oh, yeah.
But
Video game spots.
in this match in particular, they're trying to impress their buddy, Kevin Steen. And it's kind of apparent. If you watch, you can kind of catch it every now and then.
There's one point they very early in the match, they brawl the outside in like 90 seconds.
Well, yeah, they try and go. They're brawling on the outside, and they get over towards the announce table.
He goes,
and
"Oh, hi Nick, hi Matt. What are you guys doing over
Yeah.
here? The ring's over there, buddies."
So they're trying to impress Kevin Steen, which kind of plays into the story of what happens in the match. And this is, like we mentioned, Kevin Steen's final appearance in PWG.
Right. And it is interesting. Excalibur, kind of at this point was definitely the main play-by-play, and he continued to be for quite some time for PWG.
He's now the main play-by-play for AEW.
Yeah, exactly. So having Kevin Steen there, because it was always just sort of like a rotating list of wrestlers to be with Excalibur. I like him. He is kind of a dick, like you said, but he's not so bad on commentary, Kevin Steen, which is not surprising. We all know his personality, right?
This isn't his best play-by-play work, but Excalibur is definitely on point.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Excalibur's
but
very
I
good.
tell you what, it's very difficult to take notes for play-by-play for this match because it's about as mile a minute or about 50 miles a minute as you can get.
I mean, let's just be honest. The bell rings with 2 chairs being thrown at Joey. And
Yeah, it
Candice.
literally starts with 2 chairs.
Chairs. Like,
Yeah.
oh God, what's going on? They immediately.
Kind of a running theme that we've had on the show so far is, man, a lot of our matches get off to fast starts. And no faster start than this one right here.
Bell rings. Chairs are thrown in the ring. Oh shit! Here we go.
And really early on, Candice gets. And okay, I'm just going to go ahead and apologize right now that I cannot tell Matt and Nick Jackson apart.
I can.
So sorry.
I can.
Well,
She
is
gets one of them in the corner.
That was Matt.
Well, Nick's the one with his hair up, right? And Matt's the one with
Matt
his
has
hair
a
down.
jacket to the first half
For the
of
first
match,
half of it,
and
right.
his hair
That's
is
true.
down.
That's true. So
Nick
Nick's
keeps his
in
hair
the corner.
ponytail. Also, Nick has blonde hair. Matt has brown hair.
Really?
Yes.
Didn't even notice.
It's hard to tell in sort of the
Well,
grainy
the
footage,
quality of the video is not amazing,
Right.
and it's the best we could find. But like I said, Matt has his jacket on for the first 15 minutes of this match, and Nick has a ponytail. Matt does not.
Sure.
So Candice gets Matt in the corner.
In the corner. Well, was it Nick?
Was it Nick? I don't know.
He didn't. I don't think he had a jacket.
It was Matt.
It was
Yeah,
Matt.
yeah,
Okay,
apologies,
whatever.
said Matt, so.
Whatever. He gets him in the corner, and the series of vicious elbow strikes. I mean, it looks as like she went into fast forward mode.
Yeah.
And they're just the sickest elbow strikes I've ever seen in my life.
Well, we forgot to mention that Joey powerbombs Nick onto Matt and then does a tope to Matt.
Immediately. First thing to happen in the match.
We're 90 seconds in.
And Candice immediately finds a dragon mask.
Puts it on.
Yeah.
Does a tope tornado DDT to Matt Jackson on the outside.
Yeah, well, Jackson Irish whips Candice, and she takes the opportunity to just dive through the ropes and hit a tornado DDT.
Yeah.
Just why not?
Oh,
It's
my
there.
God. Oh, God.
So the pace from the very beginning is fast, and it stays that way the entire time.
There are no rest spots. There are no, let's get a breather. There is, no, we're going to do 3 more flips. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, moments later, Nick is thrown into Matt by Joey Ryan, and then Joey does a flip senton over the top rope to both of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is where we sort of start to, because we get out of the ring for a while now, right?
Yes.
So we start to head towards commentary, towards Excalibur and Kevin Steen up there. And I really like, this is sort of a random moment
Hi,
that kind
Nick.
of happens. Yeah, kind of while Kevin's doing that, they're all kind of brawling, and Candice hits another tornado DDT, but this time it's because she's thrown off the stage
Yeah, it's
area.
scary.
Yeah, it is. But you can hear a woman from the other side of the room yell, "What's going on over there?" And Kevin responds on commentary, "They're wrestling, strange woman."
There's a lot of that, them calling out people in the crowd.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It was pretty funny. But they finally get things back into the ring, and Lorray, who when she gets offense to her, it looks devastating every time. And the reasons are obvious, but when they get them back in the ring initially, she takes this enziguri powerbomb
God,
combo.
it's horrible.
That is just.
By the way, that counts as a power bomb. New streak, baby.
There you go.
New streak.
At one point, Nick hops in from the outside to hit a facebuster on Candice, and in one fluid motion, delivers a moonsault to Joey on the outside.
Yeah.
It is one motion that he does. I can't get over it.
Yeah.
I could watch that spot on a GIF for 24 hours.
One of my favorite moments is early on. Candice puts the Black Widow onto Matt.
Yeah.
And then Nick tries to hit with a trash can lid. She lets go and does basically a poison Rana.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
What am I watching?
Yeah, he just hit the trash can and she's just nope. And then he smacks Matt in the face with it.
It was really good. That's a
Yeah,
really
and then
good
she
moment in the beginning.
she head scissors Matt into Nick in the corner. It's just, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. That trash can kind of stays in the ring for a minute because Joey Ryan gets it thrown at his head, basically, like battering ram style. And when that happens, as if he has any time to recover, he gets this DDT onto the apron that almost misses the apron, hits the floor.
It was scary.
It's scary. It's very, very bold.
And then we get a wheelbarrow gut kick.
Yep.
And then they just beat the shit out of Candice, and they give her a double team neck breaker.
Lorray takes the hardest back elbow you'll ever see in your whole life, like a spinning back elbow.
That's what I call a Judas effect.
It was nasty, but we sort of get to this scene now where Lorray is in the corner, and I think Nick went out to get this bag.
He gets a black bag, not before super kicking the hell out of Joey.
Right. Super kicks Joey, so Joey's out of the ring. Nick goes and gets this bag. He puts it on the mat because Lorray's starting to get back up and fight. While Nick's back is turned, Joey pulls the
Rolls
bag
in,
from
puts
out of the
another-
ring and replaces it. Yeah, replaces it with a different one.
Oh, God. Oh, it's amazing.
What happens with that bag, Spencer?
Well, Nick turns around after he's got Lorray in the corner and is thinking it's time to use whatever's in this bag, and everyone's excited. But what he doesn't realize is that Ryan switched it out. So he goes to pour the contents of the bag onto the mat, and out comes gummy bears.
Gummy bears.
Gummy bears.
Gummy bears.
And the crowd starts chanting, "You sick fucks."
Yeah.
No. Joey tries to dive Matt through the gummy bears. But Matt rolls through, and Joey gets a face full of gummy bears. And when the Young Bucks stand up, they eat the gummy bears to a chorus of "You sick fuck" chants.
And he spits them in Candace's face.
He does.
He does do
He
that.
So
does.
there's a moment where he said, Joey spears Nick, and then I can only describe this move as like a reverse Canadian destroyer. Because they look like they're trying to do a sunset flip, and they're like, nope, and then gets reversed. And I'm like, I had to rewind
Never
it.
seen anything like it.
I rewound it. I'm like, yeah, that's like a backwards Canadian destroyer because he's facing the other. Oh, this is like next level shit right here. This is fucking awesome.
So the high pace continues. LeRae reverses a move that the Young Bucks are trying to hit with the Hurricanrana.
Yeah, powerbomb reverses Hurricanrana into a chair.
Yeah. So
So this is the second assisted buckle bomb, except this time Candace kind of has it spotted.
Right.
And the other thing
That's
different about this one is instead of the assisted buckle bomb with the kick, they were going to use a chair.
Right.
And so Candace is like, you know what?
Nope.
Fuck that shit, I'm out.
I'm gonna-
And does a Hurricanrana to get out of it.
But immediately the chair gets thrown into her face.
And so, Nick's got this chair in his hand. He's like, oh, okay, well, here you go. And just tosses it halfway across the ring.
smacks Candace right in the face.
It's
and then
sick.
comes my second favorite one of the match. So Nick starts putting chairs in the ring, sets them up. He has 3 steel chairs and then like the plastic chair from the crowd, but it won't sit right. So he smashes it, throws it out of the ring, grabs another chair. He essentially Judas effects Candace onto the thing, and then he like slams Joey onto it. And he's going to do, I think he's going to take a double foot stomp, but he gets a double balls plex.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Paul,
my God.
would you like to explain what a double balls plex is for the listeners who
So-
may not know?
So the Young Bucks are setting up a superplex for Joey Ryan to Candice LeRae, who's laying on top of 4 chairs. So while this is going on, Candice gets up, grabs both of them in, goes through their legs, gets a handful of their balls, and then does
Their what?
Their balls.
They're what?
Their balls. Does a double overhead suplex to them while they're superplexing Joey, but the Young Bucks land onto a pile of 4 chairs
And gummy bears.
and gummy bears, and Joey lands on his feet and gets up.
Just kind of have a little asterisk behind every move that we mention that takes place in the ring from now on. They're landing in gummy bears.
And
The
then
ring's a mess.
Candice LeRae hits a top rope moonsault to the outside onto both the Young Bucks.
And it's gorgeous.
It really is.
Almost as gorgeous as that whirly bird kick.
By the way, we're like less than 5 minutes into this match.
Yeah, it's insane.
The pace. I mean, listen. This is Young Bucks wrestling, right? This is what they do, and the World's Cutest Tag Team is keeping up with them. And they've got tag titles on the line. It's the main event, so they're going all out. All right, you know, the Young Bucks get in the ring after they have LeRae, who gets moonsault on the outside. She's down for a while, so Ryan gets back in the ring, and he takes this. This is a combination that I don't think
he
I'd
gets
ever
victimized.
say. Sliced bread followed by a shot with the trash can, followed by a 450 splash onto the trash can. That all happened in 20 seconds.
And there's
to Joey
also
Ryan.
like a shining wizard in there somewhere
Right.
too,
just complete absurdity.
like a double
Well,
super kick.
Nick gets up at some point. I think this is right before this. Joey calls for an assist from Candace. So Candace gets up on the apron and grabs her hand. And so they're like holding hands, and they're about to, I don't know if they're trying to go for a double clothesline or something.
I think so.
But Matt is able to hit him from behind. And so Candace I was holding onto Joey's hand. And when Joey falls, Candace falls and gets throat checked from the top rope.
yeah, yeah,
Ouch.
yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's just everything was just brutal to watch.
And it was
Well-
so tight. Everything was almost perfectly timed and performed, and they were so much in sync. There was great chemistry between these 4.
yeah, I completely agree. And after Joey Ryan kicks out of that 450 splash, the Young Bucks are thinking, oh, we have to do something else, like something else, like what's it going to take to get Joey Ryan out of here? So they go for a tandem tombstone pile driver.
Which would later become known as the Meltzer driver.
Yeah, there you go.
But Candace is able to get, I'm assuming that was Nick, off the apron.
Yes. And then
Sorry.
she reverses it, and then Ryan turns it into a Meltzer driver of his own.
Mm-hmm. And so Ryan and LeRae, they do their own tombstone, and it's just, it's still just going 100 miles an hour.
And this is when we get the one person in the audience who sings, I want candy.
Because don't forget, there's still gummy bears.
Gummy bears are in there.
everywhere.
Yes, they
Flying
are.
across the ring every time someone hits the mat.
So
everywhere.
we get another ridiculous sequence of moves. So Candice hits a super kick. Sorry, she gets hit by a super kick.
She gets hit by a few super kicks in
Yes.
this one.
She manages to hit a poison Kinrana, but ultimately takes the Meltzer driver on the outside. And when she gets back in the ring, there is so much blood on her face. I am terrified. Like, what the fuck happened
Yeah.
out there?
After that pile driver, Kevin Steen says, "We have a dead woman."
Yeah. Well, she goes for the dive on the outside and gets caught, and so it's just the perfect setup for the Meltzer driver on the outside. And Candice is dead. Like, how do you
Has to
get
be.
up from
Yep.
that?
Has to be. So now the Young Bucks are back in the ring. They go get the original bag.
The bag.
And out come thumbtacks.
Thumbtacks.
Out come thumbtacks.
Oh,
and
God. So
during that, Kevin Steen actually does say, it looks like the Young Bucks will retain because Candice is dead and Joey's about to be.
and there's a Schrodinger's table on the outside of the ring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in all of that, somebody sets up a table.
Yeah, I think Joey Ryan.
He did.
Yeah.
So Joey is in the ring. He takes a double super kick, both men. They then force feed thumbtacks in his mouth. And then Matt holds his face there while Nick does a super kick.
This is a wonderful callback to putting the gummy bears in the mouth.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then
Wait a second. Y'all smell? Dustin, did you just go get gummy bears? Seriously? What's wrong with you?
Well, he wants candy.
You sick fuck. You sick fuck.
Well,
Oh,
as
at this point,
Kevin
they are
Steen
getting the
says,
sick fuck chance, and they deserved it.
gummy bears are stupid and delicious.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm happy for it.
So after this, Nick replaces Matt's boot with a shoe that is covered in so many thumbtacks that it's just ridiculous. They're going to super kick Joey a second time.
But
then
Candice comes in for the rescue.
a very bloody Candice, and I pointed this out to you like the fifth time we watched the match. Wasn't
the fifth time we watched this.
Wasn't
match.
her wrist tape white?
It was.
Not anymore.
Because now it's bright red. And they fucking super kick her so hard that I thought she died.
Yeah, they super kick her so hard that her body does like the upper half of her body does a full twist around where her legs stay where they're planted.
And if she wasn't bleeding much before, she's definitely fucking spewing out blood now. Good God.
It was the most vicious kick I've ever seen in a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. And then oh, God. And then they're going to do a second kick this time to Joey. Joey ducks, and Matt kicks Nick out of the fucking ring. I'm sorry, no, he kicks Nick, and then Nick gets speared out of the ring through a table by Joey Ryan,
Right, and so this leaves Candice in the ring with Matt.
who immediately gets a balls plex to the corner. She pulls his boot off, does an atomic drop on his shoe. On his
No,
foot.
I think that was the setup to the dive to the outside.
You're right.
Joey Ryan did
pulled
the
off,
atomic drop.
He pulled off Matt's boot, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
atomic drops him.
But Candice does do the ballsplex into the turnbuckle
Yes.
and then grabs a fistful of thumbtacks.
Pours them into Nick's pants. And then does a second ballsplex onto the pile of thumbtacks.
So let's all just try and go there for a minute, right?
I'd rather not.
Imagine wearing extremely tight, little shorts, little jockey, white jockeys, and you have little thumbtacks poured into your underwear, and then you have this beautiful woman who's bleeding all over the place. Grab your balls really tight with the thumbtacks. Oh, okay, let's stop.
Overhead suplex while you have a handful of thumbtack testicles.
And there's probably gummy bears in there somewhere.
There probably are gummy bears in there. And then you get suplexed onto another pile of thumbtacks. And then immediately Kevin Owens, no, not like this. This is wrong.
And that's enough to get the 1, 2, 3, effectively ending the Bucks' third PWG tag title reign at 560 days.
And new PWG Tag Team Champions, the world's cutest tag team.
And hey, they held on to the belts for like 10 months.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they were a really good run. There was a really good run. But just think about, this is why this was the main event match. The Young Bucks were the champs for damn near 2 years at this point. So huge victory for Candice LeRae and Joey Ryan. And and after this, we get a really nice send-off for Kevin Steen.
Right. Well,
Yeah, he's
Steen.
like, all right, you guys, I had a lot of fun, but I'm about to go to greener pastures now. Goodbye.
Really,
I paraphrase.
and by a really good send-off, I mean, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks kicked the shit out of him.
Triple super kick.
in a true indie wrestling send-off.
I was just surprised there was no "you sold out" chance.
I mean, I think everyone's pretty proud of
Yeah, but they didn't get them. And like normal, we live in an era where like you're leaving, you're going to the other company. You sold out. I hate you. I want you to die. I still love you, by the way.
I do think it's interesting to point out that Candice LeRae, clearly the star of this match, is the only woman on the PWG roster, at least at this time. And she's the only woman in PWG history to win a championship.
Wild.
Absolutely wild.
And that might be the word I'd use to describe this whole match. I mean, what did I say?
Wild is an understatement.
20 minutes and 33 seconds of just complete bonkers. I mean, what do you do? I mean, it's just complete insanity. If you have never seen this match, I mean, do yourself a favor. Our words cannot really do it as much justice as it deserves.
One of the reasons why we had to watch it so many times was because we missed so much because they do so much so quickly.
Yeah.
And it's easy to kind of go, oh, wait a minute. No, that happened. Oh, shit. Where are we? Oh, matches. Oh, fucking oh, shit. I gotta watch that again right now so I can take more notes. There was a lot of notes taking. There was a lot of rewatching the match, pausing it, taking notes, rewinding it to make sure you're right, and then pressing play and then going, oh wait, no, that is Nick. Shit, scratch out. Man.
Yeah, I mean it's a very difficult match to take notes for, but it is not a very difficult match to enjoy.
Oh no, it's 20 minutes. It's quick. It's entertaining. It's scary, but it's a lot of fun.
What's your favorite moment?
Oh, the double balls plex onto the pile of chairs.
I don't know. The super kick to Candice really stands out to me. It is the most vicious super kick I've ever seen.
I don't know. Something about Matt getting atomic dropped barefoot onto a pile of thumbtacks just made me laugh my ass off because he takes the fall, goes, oh fuck, because you can see there's a moment where he I guess he forgot there were thumbtacks there because he's like, oh shit, and actually starts legitimately selling and not ow.
But actually, one of the things that really that elevates this match to the next level for me is the crowd participation.
Which is amazing.
Particularly initially we get the gummy bear spot that gets the ironic "you sick fuck" chant. And then later on you get the very unironic "you sick fuck" chant.
They force feed a man thumbtacks and then kick him in the face.
Loved that.
And then they kick a woman in the face with a shoe covered in thumbtacks.
Well, it kind of reminds me of, I think we mentioned this sort of when we did a match in the Impact Zone, how, it was only double as many people, right? Only 700 or so people in the Impact Zone, but the crowd really elevated the match.
And they had rally towels.
Right, and they did have rally towels. And so even though this is a small venue, the fans are passionate. And so they do play a big part in the match, where even though there's only 350 people as opposed to some of our matches that we've covered that have 20,000 people in attendance, right? Doesn't matter.
Well, hell, we covered a match that had nearly 100,000 people in the crowd.
Right, yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. So really, really interesting point, but I think one that does add to the excitement of the match because you can tell everyone is invested in what's happening.
So where the hell
I don't want to.
Do you rank this match?
This is the part where I leave.
You have no choice.
And I have no
Spencer,
interest.
I think you should go first.
I really don't want to.
Gentlemen, I will draw first blood.
Okay, Paul.
So after watching
Too
this
late,
match...
Candice beat you to it.
Good point.
Hey, good point.
After watching this match upwards of 7 times, I have decreed this is...
Number 1!
I was waiting for it.
Honestly, I thought about it. I thought that this match rivaled TA and Blanchard for its level of violence.
Yeah.
So I would put it as the new number 12.
Right under
Right
TA
under
and
TA
Blanchard.
and Blanchard.
Fascinating.
My reasoning being, we saw a woman suplex a man with thumbtacks in his pants onto a pile of thumbtacks.
Right, and so that's what makes this match so difficult to put on a list when everything that you've got 25 matches up there that look absolutely nothing like what we just saw.
Yeah.
No, the closest thing I think of was TA and Blanchard, just because it was just this violent war.
I mean, it was a violent war, and so was this. I mean, but so was Cactus Jack versus Triple H, and that is, separated from TA and Tully
So
by like 9.
you guys know that whenever I throw my number out, it's totally a softball. I'm waiting to see how you react.
I understand,
Which is why we appreciate that you want to.
And
go
I
first.
think it's difficult to throw something like this that high up on a match like this because
my actual number.
Oh, okay. He's got an actual number.
Oh,
let's
this has never
backtrack.
happened.
The actual number was actually 21.
Okay, so you would put it
under
Underneath
Cactus and Triple H.
underneath Cactus Triple H. Okay, because that is exactly where I was considering putting it, because I feel like this match doesn't quite achieve the amount of story that Cactus and Triple H were able to tell.
Well, no, there's a lot of comedy in it, but comedy, and I gotta say this right now. If you think comedy wrestling is stupid, then you should stop watching wrestling. Because comedy is some of the best things you're going to get out of wrestling. And if you cannot separate like wrestling from the comedic moments, then you're not a real wrestling fan.
Well, the thing is, we have to take into account a lot of things, and comedy can be one of the things that we take into account when we rank these matches. But we have to look at rewatchability. We have to look at the storytelling aspect of the match.
Oh, yeah.
We have to look at the overall impact this match had on the wrestling community.
This is arguably the most rewatchable match on our list.
I think it is. But when you also have to look at the stage on which they performed, and that is something that we've used to rank matches. And unfortunately, that's going to be what drags this one down, because whereas yes, we're hoping that by putting this on our list and by putting this on our show that more people are going to see it, the fact is we never saw it before it was suggested to us.
I didn't know it existed until a week ago.
Right. So
Then I watched it seven times.
I think that has something, that says something about its, just the overall where it ranks on the list as one of the greatest matches of all time. Do you think that's fair?
I think a lot of things. Ultimately,
What do you think,
I think a
Spencer?
lot of things. I do think that there is something to be said about the venue and about the stage that it's on, because I do think that a match at say Dominion might be more valuable
In
than
front
a
of
match
like 40,000 people.
right, and then a match that is in front of 350 people at
Valuable as in lucrative?
maybe, but it's tough, right? Because there's almost a part of me that wants to say it doesn't matter if it was an empty arena match. If it was a good match, that's all that should matter, right?
Exactly.
Here's my stance on this match. I almost am hesitant about my opinion, but it's how I feel, so I'll say it.
Be honest.
I would put this at 24-25.
Really?
I would, and it's nothing. And I'm not taking anything away from Candice LeRae, who I love dearly, or any of these guys who are really fantastic. It's just not for me. It's just not my style that I like.
It's not your cup of tea?
It's not my cup of tea, and it's not the comedy. Like, I get comedy
Oh, I
wrestling,
love the comedy.
I like comedy. Like, the Gummy Bears were hysterical. Like, I really appreciate it.
I could see people watching the match go, no, they use gummy bears. This is fucking stupid. I hate it. I'm like, you're watching wrestling.
Yeah, no,
It's a show.
And wrestling,
Enjoy the fucking show.
I think in and of itself it can be a caricature sometimes, and
Yeah.
and that's what it is. And I like that for it. I think that's one. I think it kind of tells sort of a story of who Joey Ryan and Candice LeRae are by having that bag of gummy bears, right? But I like that, because I think that's actually part of the storytelling part of this match that we don't get a whole lot of.
I'll say this right now, just as an example. Whenever Tanaka and Awesome start like dueling with steel chairs, that's fucking hilarious, because
Yeah.
it's so stupid and rehearsed, but nobody ever gives them shit for comedy.
Right.
So what, you're going to give Joey Ryan shit for comedy just because 2 years later he uses his dick as an offensive weapon?
I think that, when I was thinking of matches that this one kind of compares to, Cactus Jack and Triple H, of course, fits that. And so does TLC 1 to me, just because.
That's true. It's car crash.
It's a car crash. I mean, yes, I think there's obviously more wrestling moves in this match than TLC 1.
Way more.
But there's a similar amount of weapons and sort of outrageous play with those kind of things, just like in TLC 1. Just for me, I feel, God, I so feel like old man, get off my lawn. But I don't. Where do you go? Like, I just feel like there's a certain point where it's like, I don't like what the fuck do we do because we've done it all already. And like these are matches.
I feel like there's a lot of things they didn't do that they could have done.
Well, that's probably true, but I also feel like they could have gotten a pinfall on anything that happened in the first 60 seconds of the match,
That's true.
not
That's
just
very, very
and
true.
they continue to do things that
So how do you build a match like
you
this?
don't.
Yeah.
And
You just do
ultimately-
crazy spot, crazy spot, crazy spot, crazy spot, pin.
Right, and that's what it is to me. So I understand. I do understand that that's not a popular thing to say, and it's not
Well,
that I
mean,
don't like
no,
the Young Bucks.
I
Because
hear
I
where you're
do.
coming. I hear where you're coming from, but what you got to remember is there a lot of these crazy spots don't have pinfalls. There's only like 3 pin attempts in the entire match, and like 2 of them are broken up by their opponent. Sorry, by their tag partners.
Right. But I guess for me, like the finish, I just was like meh. Because yes, it was a ball plex onto Thumbtacks, and he had him in his tights, and I get that. But I had also seen Candice LeRae almost die earlier, and she was bleeding profusely.
Yeah, but
and
then she came back and valiantly won the day,
right, and that's a good
proving
thing.
that she's a superior wrestler to these men.
I understand that, and I don't disagree with that at all. I'm just saying that I saw things that were more brutal that didn't end the match throughout the course
I hear
of it. So it's just not my cup of tea, and
That's fine.
that doesn't mean it
I
doesn't.
think there are going to be a ton of listeners that absolutely agree with you.
Oh, they are. That's why I gave my whole thing about like if you're going to shit on this match because of the comedy, then you're not a real wrestling fan,
Right.
Because wrestling is based in comedy.
Yeah,
Like-
it's theater, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
It's
well, there's
vaudeville.
comedy, there's strategy, there's tragedy, there's all kind of shit.
And I'm basically just trying to piss off Jim Cornette at this point.
Oh, okay, I see. That totally makes sense.
Fuck you, old man. You're
well,
a racist.
okay, but you did say you would put it at 24 or 25, which would put it above TLC.
Yeah,
Why is that?
I'd put it above TLC for
'Cause there's actually wrestling.
for Candice LeRae, and there's actual wrestling. But kind of like Paul said, Candice LeRae does get to kind of make that comeback and prove she belongs. They won the tag titles, and I think that's a good story, and I think it has enough story to go over a match that we don't think had a ton of story in TLC 1.
Yeah, I agree with that.
TLC 1, the story was, look, we have weapons that we like to
Yeah.
use. Let's use them all.
How we're going to kill each other today?
Right, and where this match had some of that, but also had this really sort of nice. I wouldn't call it necessarily a Cinderella story, but something like that, where these guys were definitely the underdogs, but they sort of lasted through and persevered through this hell to get the
But I
win.
think the most important thing about it is that Candice, despite like being dead, came back and won the match. And that for me personally, that just really, really ticks it up a lot.
Yeah.
Because, good Lord, when she crawls back in that ring and takes that super kick, I'm like, she's dead.
Well, and one of the things we didn't mention in the build-up to this match is this is actually not the first meeting between these two teams.
No, it's not.
The World's Cutest Tag Team did unsuccessfully attempt to beat them in a championship match prior to this.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting story to tell, and I agree that it tells a better story than TLC 1. What about Kurt Angle versus Shane McMahon? Let's just do a little crawl up to 24. So if it were going to jump 24, what would do that for you? Because I think it does. I think it is a greater match than Kurt Angle versus Shane
I mean,
McMahon.
we've all like. I mean, I fought for that match to be higher, but at the end of the day, I had to realize that as much as we enjoyed that match, it's remembered for the calamity that happens at the end.
Right. And
Yeah.
if you can say that that's why that match made it on the list, then you can say it's because that match was a car crash.
The second half of it is a
You
car
could say
crash.
that about this match too.
The first half of it is an athletic contest. You forget it's a hardcore match until Kurt Angle gets pissed off and tries to murder Shane McMahon.
I think there's a certain, Shane McMahon obviously takes that match down. Obviously he's sort of on the receiving end of the more brutal moments.
I mean, he holds his own for a minute, and then he
Yeah.
tries to shoot on Kurt, and then Kurt
And that does not go
embarrasses
well for
him.
him. Yeah,
and
exactly.
then Kurt tries to kill him.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely understand why we might put it at 24 over Angle and McMahon, mostly because, like you said, the reason we remember that match is not because of the 20 minutes that it was or whatever. It's really for the second half where they just legitimately injure each other.
Yeah, they're like, no, Kurt has a broken tailbone, and he's like, I'm putting you through this plate glass window. Does it? I'm going to do that one more time.
Right. So I'm okay with going over that one. Like I'm
I am
totally
too.
cool there. But that brings us to New Day and Usos.
And is that your hard line?
I think it is.
I think so, too. Because that match also blends comedy with brutality.
It does.
It's also shot a lot better.
Yeah, and I think there is some production value that I think you can say certainly adds to it. But it's also a story that is one that was built on a long rivalry.
It really was. They're both culminations of big rivalries.
It didn't feel like it was brutal for the hell of it, whereas this match feels brutal for the hell of it in some instances. You know what I mean? Paul's doing the Big E popcorn gif, which is so good. Can we make a gif of Paul doing that?
Yeah,
I think
we're
that would
doing
be
it.
perfect.
There's popcorn right there.
See,
Okay, well then I think we're agreed.
24.
24.
24.
Kiefer Sutherland as Jack Bauer.
I almost feel.
I wish Candice LeRae would play Jack Bauer. I'd
That'd
watch
be
that.
I'd
badass.
watch
They have
that.
blonde. They both have blonde hair. They can do it.
Yeah, man, I was coming into this episode, I was very fearful because I very much expected to be, I was afraid that you guys would be top 10 and I would be not top 10 at all. And so I was preparing to concede is where I was.
No, well, my
was
thing was,
pointing.
I mean, I know I said, oh, you're number 11. That was, like I said, that's my softball. I thought about trying to go a little bit higher, but I really thought about it. And at the end of the day, as much as I love this match, it is so enjoyable because it is car crash. It's just fun. It is just absolutely insane. Some of the, if you really look at our top 10, these are all like storytelling masterpieces.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this match has some story to it, but nothing like, there's nowhere near the storytelling as we see in like Cena and Michaels. That is
Sure.
that is master. That's theater right there.
Yeah.
Or like our top 3. Those are all 3 of those is like Broadway theater. Like you're not gonna top. You might be more athletic, you might be more flashy, but you're not gonna tell this kind of a story without slowing down a little bit and selling.
Yeah, I think there is definitely a place for this, and obviously this is
There
a
is.
style that has just gotten more popular as time has gone on. So
and I also guarantee there's going to be some more PWG matches on there because
Right.
our first thing is, oh man, it's hitting the best PWG match. I'm like, so there's going to be more.
right, yeah, it's not like we're one and done necessarily.
No.
Which is why, like we did in the beginning, if you have match suggestions from PWG or wherever you watch wrestling, if you have some accessible matches that you think not only should everyone else know about, but you think legitimately does feel like it's one of the greatest matches you've ever seen, and so it could belong on a list like this of the 100 greatest ever, we want to hear them all because we will happily watch that stuff and see if we put it on the list because. I mean, why not? We are in no way trying to make any promotion not able to be on the list, right? Like we want to be as inclusive to wrestling as possible and not exclusive just because of what promotion it comes from. And I think that's important to remember. So how are we 20 what do you say 24?
24.
I feel good about it.
I do too.
Let's do it. Yeah. 24.
24. And most importantly, especially to you, Mr. JC, funny does equal money.
Thank you again to @WrestlingMullet on Twitter for the suggestion. This was well worth the watch, and we hope you guys, if you haven't seen this match, like we said earlier, we'll have the YouTube link posted in the show notes, so we would be happy to send that your way so you can watch it because it is more than worth your time.
Dustin, pass me those gummy bears.
I don't know where we'll be next. I mean, I feel like the last couple of matches, episode 25 was Liger, episode 26 was this match. Very different. I think the season 2 has been matches that were just so different. I am super excited to see what we cover next on episode 27 and beyond. And if you have any suggestions to send to us, you know where to find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on email. You know where to find us, and we'll be happy to cover and watch and rank whatever we can.
And I'm happy to take more pot shots at Jim Cornette.
Anytime, every time.
So until episode 27, I'm Spencer.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Landon.
And this
is Last Match Standing.